Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to C13 podcast, where we explore the intersection of two passions of martial art, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and the world of business. Every week, we're going to bring in, a guest to interview entrepreneur, executive, and thought leaders who are using the principle of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to succeed to corporate onto corporate world. Well, we delve to how Jiu-Jitsu can teach us invaluable lessons about leadership, resilience, and saving problems, where you are BJJ practitioner or you're looking to grow your game on and off the mats, or you're a business professional looking for gain competitive edge. This podcast is for you. Let's get it rolling. Today, my guest today it's Connor McLean, right?
That's right. Yeah. Thank you
Man,
for having me here. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Welcome to Sister Team first episode. I'm very stunned, right? I'm gonna should do read you a little bit of your description. You send it to me, right? He's 29 years old, formed BJJ. He started BJJ 2016. He's a blue belt, three stripes, right? Blue belt, no white belt. Blue belt, three
Yeah.
stripes, right? Former VA Beach Police for 4 years, and a former Army National Guard IT security technician, and former private security contractor, and is owner of a Thai I say right
Tier
combat
combat.
combat apparel and self defense company, in correctly to sales management to MASF, right? Meth,
Yep. Massive supplements.
and also a director, the director program director for Adopt a Cop. That's what we're going to be talking about soon, and have a couple of fights coming up. All right. The first thing I want to ask you, would like to, because I always love, my wife is a military veteran, but I would like to know how you ended up on the military and how was that?
I'd say during high school, I'd see like all the different military recruiters coming through, and I'd be like, oh, I can do these push-ups, I can do these pull-ups, and just kind of like collect free stuff. And I kind of joke that like, man, it's the backpack that got me. Where it's like, yeah, I did the 50 push-ups or whatever, and I got a backpack, and I was like, I'm all in. Let's do this. So I started looking at different jobs, and ultimately, I got swayed from wanting to go active duty and pursuing like I wanted to do combat arms, something in that. And then I got swayed to the Army National Guard more so by my parents, and they're like, "Why don't you pick a skill that if you don't like it and you get out, at least you've got like something." So I chose the information technology, and I've honestly I did that for 6 years. During that time, I did state active duty in New York when I lived up there doing funeral services. So I learned the job a little bit about networking and IT security. Then got really good at drill and ceremony, and then I got out. And I haven't used those. Haven't used those IT skills since. So
Oh, that's
that was
awesome. That's
it.
awesome. And so right after you get out of the military, did you join the academy for the police VA Beach, Virginia Beach, or went to something else? Then you joined the cop.
Yeah, so I'd say during the last like 2 years of my enlistment, I was going to community college. I finished that and I got a degree in criminal justice, an associate's. And then at the end of that, I went to another police academy up in New York in Ulster County. That's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
upstate. So I did that as a pre-employment like school. Like it's really more so a school and a lot of working out. The like the shooting and some of the other stuff that you do, you have to be sponsored by an agency to get your full certification to be a sworn law enforcement officer. So I didn't have that. So I did like the schooling part of it. And then I got hired by Virginia Beach Police, and I moved down. So that was 2014 into 2015. I finished that academy in New York, and then towards the end of 2016, I started the Virginia Beach Academy, and I was able to honestly ride out the last year of my contract with the National Guard without having to go to drill because I was in the police academy, and that was one of the exceptions to miss it. So I spent almost a full year going from one police academy had some time off, and then went right back to another one,
Oh,
which was
that's awesome. And so right after that, did you did you join jiu-jitsu, right? So
that's right.
how can you explain it to us? Like how was the beginner? What did you thoughts before? Are you already been including to the martial art world and or some some a friend of you invite you to come train and you got from there?
So during the police academy in New York, we got some defensive tactics training. Looking back on it now, it's severely outdated and just ineffective. Like most of it. Um, but I thought that I bought right into it. I was like, this is great. I'm going to learn all these skills. Like I can fight. Like I'm going to be good to go. Um, then I went to well, when I got beat up at a concert in a mosh pit, and that
Oh
was
no,
humbling. Yeah, okay, maybe I don't
definitely.
know, but I think I know. And then I went out to Los Angeles to visit my brother, and he's a or was a competitive Muay Thai fighter, and I tried that out at his gym, and there were some wrestlers doing like MMA there, and besides being very humbling, it was actually pretty inspiring. Where I was like, wow, like what I thought I knew does not work. The police stuff that they taught in New York is not effective. Um,
Can you describe what it was that like? Can you describe like what it looks like like some.
it's a lot of like that particular curriculum in New York was more so like small joint manipulation, like wrist locks. Like you could grab someone, but kind of like similar to Aikido, where you could grab their wrist and manipulate a certain way and take them to the ground. And I'm 160 pounds. I do that to a 200-pound person. Like I'm gonna pay.
Yeah.
So I learned that very quickly. They teach or they emphasized a lot of like baton work, so the different baton strikes, like to just different extremities to the solar plexus, um, which I mean it's effective, but it's also pretty traumatic too to the person's body, and it may just kind of anger them too. I mean, I've used my collapsible baton one time on one person. It did nothing. It just gave them some bad bruising, made them more angry, and then we ended up wrestling to the ground anyways.
The person
Um,
was just trying to come.
so it's a good show of force or a good way to use like for crowd management if you have several officers with either batons or riot sticks, to like push people. But other than that, I don't think it's a very effective tool. So they
Mhm.
emphasize like it's just kind of outdated, like wrist blocking and um it's hard to explain, like the escort takedown, which kind of looks like getting into a Russian tie,
Mhm.
but it's just like, okay, we're just gonna kind of throw them and turn it all down. It's like that would work on someone that's my size or smaller, but that's unsuspecting of it. But as soon as they get that grip, and I'm sure if someone starts trying to arm drag you or get you into that Russian tie, you know how to counter it. So just teaching someone like, oh, we can grab your arm and push you straight to the ground, it's not going to happen. So
Yeah.
it's just effective
And
techniques.
so there, when you're starting like getting interesting, and how was the well, like what? How was like the process when you're like, okay, I'm gonna train in my first class? Was invited by a friend, and how would that work? Or because uh, like off camera you told me you're starting jiu-jitsu on a program adopt a cop. You're going to talk about a little bit like what is adopt a cop is, and what is your mission, things like that. And I would just want to know like the how was the transition from that, like, okay, I'm going to try jiu-jitsu and see how that things go and go from there.
So the first gym I trained at up in New York was Precision Martial Arts and Boxing. I think they were called Precision like MMA at the time, but they've expanded big time now and they're doing really well, which is great to see. I went for, or that was just the closest gym to my house. I went in for a like an introductory class.
Hmm.
And, I can't remember his name. I know he's still training. He was a very nice guy. Um, he just kind of walked me through like this is a single leg takedown, this is an Americana, this is a Kimura. It was about a 45-minute kind of introduction, just to see like I think more so how do I respond when he like is in mount and when I'm in guard or when he's in my guard, and just kind of went over the basics of like what mount is, what guard is, what side control is, um, and then I just jumped right into it. I was like, this is pretty cool. And that particular guy, I wish I could remember his name. He wasn't like he didn't look like like an athlete or someone that you look at and be like, I would not fight that guy. Looked like an average, like in shape kind of person. And the way he could just use a purple belt at the time could just manipulate me in any way he wanted. I was like, I need to learn this because this is effective. And he's exerting no energy. I'm super gassed. I'm like, I think I'm in good shape. Like I work out a lot. I run, I row. It's like this, and I'm nothing. He's cutting right through me. I was like, I need to learn this.
Yeah, it's funny because I heard that I hear that a lot. People like, man, I've been training, like running, I've been lifting weights, and come to the first class, I'm gas out. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
I don't know what to expect. And every time I talk to people, say it's not about like first, jiu-jitsu is a different way you think is a different way in any other sport, right? You can run, you can have a build a really good mindset, really like a hard mindset to keep going, keep pushing through. That will help you in jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu don't need that because no need only that needs like how to breathe, how to properly use your strength, your core. It's like if you go to a guy 100 like 30 pounds. I have a kid, his name is Igus, training with me. He's 135 pounds. I see he tapping right and left a dude of 280, Brandon, like massive because the kid is very technical, and Brandon come with all the strength and all the power, and the guy just should like keep managing that enforcement. So
yeah,
it's not only that, but mind and strength, everything combined together that helps, like the jiu-jitsu. Definitely I see this a lot all the time, or the other excuse people make is like, I have to get in a better shape to come train. And say, man, you're never going to be in a better shape, just come and train, and just
yeah. It's
push
hard
it.
to try to like convey that where you're like, look, you can be in very good shape for
Yeah,
whatever sport you do. It's different. It's
yeah,
different breathing. It's a different way you're using your body. You can only get conditioned to it by doing jujitsu.
yeah, that's true. I kind of like a little happier now because a lot of people starting to realize that, it's not everyone, of course, like realize that, but a lot of people starting to realize like, okay, for me be able to do jiu-jitsu, or to have a good shape of jiu-jitsu, I have to do jiu-jitsu. I cannot do like, running. Going to implement, going to help, yes, but it's not going to be like a game change. I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, it's different. I run every day, no, not every day, 3 4 times a week, like 4 miles. I started with two, now I'm four. I'm going to go up into 10 miles. Man, it's like it's a manual every day. Every time I run, it's a manual, but it's not like it's different because I can roll like for an hour and a half, and like, okay, I'm gonna be gas out, but gonna be okay. When I
Yeah,
run 4 miles, I was like, man, I'm gonna die. I just will definitely die. But that's everyone. I'm gonna ask another question too. Here's the thing. I see you guys are very strong on social media, Adopt a Cop, and we Seeds now is partnering up with you guys. You guys, we're partnering, like now we like you guys got us accepted in a program. I want you to explain it to us the benefit and how the cops can benefit training jiu-jitsu and how the cops can get introduced in your program. I would like to hear more from you.
sure. So Adopt a Cop BJJ came about in about mid 2020 when all like the protests were real big, where cities and other towns were having like major issues with um, like rioting, staffing issues, and a lot of like shortcomings were seen in like training deficiencies, um, primarily being in like your ability to go like they say hands on. Um, so where you have a situation where it's not a deadly force situation, but you need to take somebody into custody, whether they're actively resisting you or they're passively resisting you by just like locking up, don't want you to touch them, or they're assaulting you. And you kind of see that like glazed over or panic look where they fall back to like what was their training? Well, their training was 40 or maybe 80 hours in the police academy. Um, it could have been a year ago for them. It could have been 5 years ago or more. And then if their agency has any kind of like in service or recurring training, it may only be a couple hours for that year. And I mean, you know as well as I do, if you only put in a couple hours a year towards your ability to grappling or striking or anything, it's not going to help you out 6 months down the line. It's not going to help you 2 weeks from then.
Mm.
So the our founder Mitch Aguiar, he owns MASF Supplements and Violent Hippie Academy and CBD. He came up with the Adopt a Cop BJJ program. Instead of sitting back and saying, "Oh, this is terrible," what are we going to do? Like these officers aren't trained. Yeah, he started the nonprofit so that it would be like, well, instead of saying, "Hey, there's an issue," well, let's do something about it. So what the program offers is, depending on your affiliation, your officers are either completely covered their tuition from white belt through blue belt, or they pay a reduced rate, with which right now is $50 a month. And if they meet the social media and training requirements, they'll get reimbursed at the end of the month or mid-month, however their pay cycle works. So if you're putting in the effort to meet the minimum requirements of training twice a week, posting twice a week with the captions and like the spreading like
The
word about,
word.
then you get reimbursed for it. So that's been we've produced around. I just checked it this morning. It's around 250 officers. I saw a couple more emails come in before we got on that said they got their blue belt, so it's right around 250, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
We have about another 300 currently enrolled, and probably another. It's a little over 300 on our wait list to get
Wow.
in.
That's
So
awesome.
we're hoping to open it again in February. I think we're on track to do it. Between people withdrawing, getting their membership revoked or sponsorship revoked, and getting their blue belt, we've opened up around 120 spots. So we're gonna let January get through, see how many we've got and how many we can accept and open the application again.
It's pretty simple, like, it's not something is like you have, like, required, like the person have to train and post about the social media 2 times a week, and pretty much it, right? And like, let's put it this perspective, how much the cops can benefit from that. Let's put it that way. I have a cop who trained with me and training for me still, and who have like used something I taught then, like 2 weeks after they start training. They were pretty much burning you, and they were like, use I was a arm drag. There was an arm drag. He take the guy down, take the back. We'll be able to handcuff, and he was help another guy, another office. And this is like only 2 weeks of training. Imagining, somebody to be constant 2 times a week, training, and be able to do it. Like, let's put it that way. It's cheap. Let's be honest. To like be able to train 2 times a week and post on social media 2 times a week, man. It's a life saving. You're gonna be safe. You're gonna be able to go back home safe. To people surround you safe. You don't want it to be like, oh, I don't know what to do, or trying to get out of shape and not be able to run, not be able to defend yourself or your community just because of your laziness. All the people have to gonna pay that due. And it's not only new, it's the older people have to pay that, because if you're not interested to keeping growing, keeping moving forward, I'm fine where I'm at, I don't have to do, I'm tired, I didn't sleep well. Everybody have that. Everybody have that. Like, nobody sleep every well every day, nobody eats well every day, nobody has a great time all the time, all every day. But it's that little difference of like, okay, man, I'm tired, I just got out of my 12-hour shift, I have like an hour to train, I'm going to train, and after that I'm going to crash. I understand, have a family and everything, but it's like, to why you choose to work this, defending yourself and defend the people surround you, the community. It's something is required. You don't think in yourself in the first place for now, because it's really important to have a really trained office there. That's why I talk to people. Sometimes people just come and train. I say, man, like, what you do, I'm training every day. I would love you to come here every day. We offer jiu-jitsu for free for cops and to the blue belt as well, before y'all and before we partner up together,
Yeah, that's
and And I told, like, if you guys wanted to get the knowledge for like for free, I know I spending like almost 12 years of like traveling, give seminars, paying, like investing so much on myself to offer something for free for you. And if you don't want to do it, it's fine. Who's losing? It's you, but at the same time it's me as well, because I know if I have an incident and I call a cop, I know the cop gonna show up here prepare to be able to defend me, defend my wife, my daughter, anyone who surround me, or people on my street, anytime. So I think it's very important to people open their eyes on, like, okay, man, I understand. I'm tired. I don't want to do this today, but think on the others, because it's on the other side.
Absolutely, I agree with that, 100%. And I'll talk to some officers who say, "Hey, I don't think I could meet, the minimum requirements of training 2 times a week." And they say I have like family things and trips and train other police training and all this. And I'll say to them, um, you kind of owe it not just to yourself but your community. You signed up for a job like voluntarily where you put yourself before others. Part of that is sharpening all your skills, not just your case law knowledge, not just your firearms, but your ability to wrestle with somebody. It's not always going to be a shootout. It's not always going to be a deadly force um, encounter. You need to be able to manipulate somebody, handle somebody. You need to do it from basic just positional dominance to maybe you do need to like follow through with a whatever joint lock submission. Um, and to neglect that, I think it's a disservice to yourself. It's a disservice to your community and your department. Um, so when you are committed to it, your help, all of that's going to benefit. You got to pay that little bit of time, that sacrifice, whether it's time away from your other hobbies or family or other unrelated police training you want to do. I think you have to stay sharp on it. Um,
The third time.
yeah,
you know I believe a lot on that too, uh, because sometimes we know we be busy, but it's all about time management. If we be able to have a discipline, I'm a perfect example of that. um, a big part of my life I didn't plan and didn't schedule things. I didn't put things in the right way, and things was just going flowing, and the day was good, the day was bad, but that was a huge lack of mistaking my part. I have a like no time management. I think it's very important to not just a cop. I think to every human being, it's very important to manage your time, to see already plan ahead, like what you wanted to do, what you have to do, and this is something that's very, very important. I think it's to everyone, not only for a cop or not only for a doctor. I think to enforce to everyone.
absolutely. I mean, you can get away with going, just kind of going with the flow of each day, and whatever happens, happens, and you can probably get most of what you want done accomplished. But why not plan that out and say, hey, these days are dedicated to whatever. It could be strength and conditioning. It could be just your planning your work schedule around time off, around training. Why not dial all that in and maximize your time? So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's all about to get better, like as long as you're moving, as long as you progressing, I think it's a huge important, to everyone. I think that would be awesome. I have another thing too. I saw you math supplement. You're the sales manager. Can you explain it to us a little bit more, how the math supplement is? I saw like you guys Instagram, you guys pretty big, getting like growing a lot the last couple months and things like that. I would like to know like more about the math and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our like founder CEO, Mitch Aguiar, he's a former Navy SEAL and professional MMA fighter. He started the like Smashing Greens superfood blend as a way to cut weight before his fights. His following that he had on Instagram it was all about it, and that's where he grew his customer base from, was with the greens. That took off, and it turned into the full line of supplements that it is today. And then from there, he stemmed off to all the CBD products with Violent Hippie, as well as Adopt a Cop BJJ. So the MASF supplements, and Mitch's career as an MMA fighter really gave him the platform to get Massive Supplements started, and then everything else that's grown from there. So it's definitely taken off in the last 4 or 5 years, especially like with Violent Hippie, with our jujitsu, Adopt-A-Cop's doing well, and the supplements just we keep dialing it in better each time with more effective formula. Um, we don't put any like bad fillers in anything. We're not throwing
Chemicals
sugar
and
and
things.
stuff, so we're keeping it clean.
And how, if someone here in the next spectator listening to us, he wanted to like resell that, how to get in touch and with who, how things go that way.
Instagram is definitely our biggest base to find anything about us, as well as signing up for our email distribution list as well. But Massive Supplements on Instagram, Violent Hippie on Instagram, Adopt-A-Cop PJJ on Instagram, and then Mitch Aguiar as well on Instagram. That's where you can find out, any like promotions, get on our mailing list, see what's going on, like locally. Because like we're going to be doing some local events with other gyms. Um, a good example is Grindstone Athletics. They're in Virginia Beach. We're over in Chesapeake. We sponsor one of their black belts that's an active competitor in jiu-jitsu. Will Lucian, he brings all his team over, kind of takes over our gym for a little bit. Then we go take his gym over. We've had Virginia Beach Fight House come in. They had a bunch of great boxers here, some good wrestlers. We just kind of cross promote each other's. Um, it's a lot of fun. I think locally we've made a pretty positive impact on just the martial arts community in general.
That's awesome. That's a very rare to see in a community. Like people like jiu-jitsu is a art of make friends. I always say that like jiu-jitsu can definitely make a lot of friends, a lot of good people. You can meet a lot of good people, but also people sometimes get scared. To introduce more. And I'm like, I think this is when this happens, a lack of confidence. The people like scared of like, oh, they're gonna steal my student, or they're gonna do whatever. But I think that's awesome. You guys doing up there, like getting together, every day you guys been like helping the community child. I think that's the mentality should be.
Yeah, definitely. I think a great example of, and this is kind of earlier on too, when we kind of opened up Violent Hippie to the public. Um, that same coach Will at Grindstone, we saw him at a local Grappling Industries tournament, and he had his guys on the mat. We've got our guys competing against them too, and we have Mitch and Will both coaching, kind of like against each other, but it was like in a friendly manner. We're like, yeah, we want our guy to win. He wants his guy to win. But next week we're going to be at the same Thursday gym takeover, training with each other, and everything's cool. So I thought that was cool. That it's I wouldn't call it a rivalry. It's just more like friendly competition. And I was like, this is awesome. So
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that would be good. Hey, can you tell us who about your a little bit of your company? I saw the Instagram, Tire Combative, apparel self defense company. I would tell us a little bit more about it and what you offer. Things like that.
sure. Yeah, I just started that last year. Where I think I wouldn't say some high level of I'm a special operations like level type of security person. I'm not, but when it
Hmm.
comes to just like your basic like self defense, situational awareness, how can you harden your home? Um, how can you be safe pumping gas? Just kind of your basic self defense things. I'm not trying to teach people how to do dynamic entries into rooms and this and that. That's not what I would say I specialize in. Just you're kind of like you could take your a purple belt, jujitsu either hobbyist or competitor, and a day one I don't know anything about self defense. Bring them together in class and just kind of show them where it's like, hey, you have no training, you have a lot of training. Here's where you can apply this mindset towards the skills that you have, and let's build upon some of that. Because I see like some training scar, I don't say training scars, but just different like habits where if you have someone that's real sport oriented towards wrestling or judo or wrestle or jujitsu, and then you put them in a scenario where it's like, okay, here's my, here's another student. They don't really have any like martial arts background, but just to give you an idea of what it's like to actually kind of feel some adrenaline fighting another person. Let's fight over this training knife or this training gun and see who can control it. And it's like, hey, that sports stuff you're doing where you want to invert and do something like that, well, now you're getting punched in the face by this person who's got really no training. It's like, let's try to find that common ground where we can do some training that's effective with either learning new skills, or let's kind of modify what you already know that's going to work in an unforgiving environment like the gas station on the concrete, or somewhere that's not
the real thing, right? The real like.
um and then as far as the apparel goes, I'm just trying to get into that like creative.
You the one who makes it, or you somebody you like somebody made for you and then you do, or you're the one who made the apparel?
I'm trying to get some artwork together. So if you know a good artist, because I put some stuff together and it's bad, like please let me know. I did one run of T-shirts where it's just a logo. My parents helped me out. They have a T-shirt press, so I shipped them the shirts. They sent them back to me, and just kind of did a test of what's it like to actually sell, a hard good. So I'm looking forward to doing more with that. I'm already working with like a local, it's called Moral Patch Decay. Joey over there, him and I are going to be partnering up to do some patch and t-shirt stuff together, just to grow each other's brands and get some more people in the gym.
Grow together. That's awesome. Yeah, I always tell everyone, I think everyone should own a business because as I give you different perspective of the world. Like you can work for someone for 20 years, 30 years, and be great what you do. I think the fact that you want to create things, you want to building things, it's very important to like get out of your comfortable zone. You can't nowadays. It's like honestly, it's very easy to open a business or whatever you want. Like have a drop shipping, have a lot of things you can do. Like play with somebody's money besides play your money. Because if you play your money and you don't have that extra money to supply that, oh my gosh, I just lost money, and it definitely gonna lose money. But it's now with the internet, and things like that, YouTube and TikTok or Instagram, things got last. Like you know like more what to do. I like always looking for opportunities. I am a guy who always been looking for opportunities. People, like some people are not used to that. People want to see somebody comfortable, somebody like set up. Why you wanted to push more? I search for a lot of like challenge myself and reaching my goals. And like I'm from Brazil, but I come from Brazil. I have nothing growing up. I have absolutely nothing. I have no excuses why not to try everything. And so I think it's like a little gas to people when I talk to people, oh man, I got this job. I say, man, start your business as a excited job, starting like slowly small. And man, things people gonna like it, and the word of mouth to mouth, and you're gonna grow, and also take times. It's not gonna be like today you're gonna open a company, tomorrow a millionaire. Happened before, yes, it happened, but this is like one of a million, so day by day grinding and putting trust in the process, it's like a day in the process. It's very passionate afterward. Why you passing through that is painful, but afterward is like, wow man, I really enjoyed this, and I like it. And then people start to ask you a question, like starting like answer people's question, and people start like, okay, this guy did, I'm gonna do it too. So it's very impressive, and know like shows like you have a lot of courage to do something like that. No matter if it's the smallest business or the biggest business, you have to have courage to push the trigger, because a lot of people don't.
Oh, absolutely. And since working here at coming on with Massive Supplements, we are a small business, and just seeing like the day-to-day like constant problem solving. And it's like, well, what's the risk versus reward on this issue and that issue. And like getting some feedback or listening to like Mitch and Kyle talk about formulations, and I'm like, man, there's everything is on us, right? It's not like a major corporation where it's like we could send it to this department, that department. So
Mm-hmm.
seeing the day to day, like here's how we are going to target, um, sales for, this particular product, or maybe this needs to change. Or hey, we have a manufacturing issue or a label issue, and it's just like, well, how do we fix it? Who do we need to talk to? What needs to happen?
Yeah.
And it just all falls back on like, oh, how do we do that? Oh, it's on us. It's like, I think that's exciting. So I
Yeah.
like that it's a constant, constantly learning something.
It's challenging, the entire time is challenging you to get out of, like I said, get out of your comfortable zone and start something, no matter how small it is, how big, you're gonna mess up, but learn from it and keep it pushing.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm very grateful to be here as well, especially like with Adopt a Cop and Violent Hippie and MASF, because leaving law enforcement, leaving private security, and then just kind of being like, all right, reintegrate to like civilian jobs. It's like, what do I do? Like, how do I express that creativity? How do I find that purpose again? Where it's like, hey, I know what my mission is, or I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do to improve. And then I come here and it's a totally different environment, but you can apply that same, like leadership lessons that you've learned, use your problem solving creativity to, redirect that energy into the business and then see an outcome from it. So I've been real grateful that I'm able to make that transition from that to this.
It's
It's
awesome.
definitely not been easy or smooth, but I feel like it's finally kind of like leveling out.
Kicking in, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's like, and no, every change is painful. Unless you're like 100% prepared, but we never prepare for like anything major like that. So you definitely first, you're thankful for the people you surround, because it's like those people who lift you up and help you out. And second, like you're in a place you enjoy, and also the business have the same background as you, kind of. This has helped a lot, because I'm pretty sure the boss, whatever the person's coordinated, understand your struggles. The person been through and understand your struggle, understand like your mind, kind of, come back to the civilian job and things like that. So I think that's awesome. You have that opportunity. Not a lot of people have that opportunity, and enjoy it. Have fun with it.
Yeah, I'm super lucky and grateful to be here. And what I like about working here is that, I report to first line person I report to be Kyle. His background is over 10 years in law enforcement. So we have that, understanding of each other. We both have a similar background. And then you have Mitch's military background. And the way that we kind of all communicate is we can be, blunt and to the point about things and not be upset by that. Where it's
Yeah.
like, where am I falling short? What do I need to do to improve? And we're going to execute on it. Where you take that to maybe another corporate environment where that's kind of leadership's not there, you're going to have a hard time. So
Yes.
I like that those parallels are still here. And then we have jujitsu every day, almost every day of the week, sometimes twice a day or more. And getting to train at the same place that I work at, where I just got to walk through the back doors and here's our brand new open big mat. Yeah, that it's like I can't really ask for more as far as like
Thank
quality.
God.
So that's great.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Corner, man, thank you so much. You want to say something? Say something here for our listener. And before we finish everything, I want to ask you two things. Before you want whatever you're open to whatever you want to say, thank whatever you want to thank. And second one, if you want to indicate any book, someone should read or something like that.
Oh man, let's see. As far as a book goes, I don't think I've read a book in about a year. But
Something book you learn, you read in the past or something like that.
um, I really like the two books. One is called Perfectly Wounded by Mike Day. That one helped me through some dark times, and so did Tip of the Spear by Ryan Hendrickson.
Okay.
Both of them are former military. Mike Day was a SEAL, and Ryan Hendrickson was a Green Beret. And they have the common ground of they went to combat and the experience with the experience and had the after effects of that. But they talk about their upbringing and you have to read it, but they're two kind of like definitely different upbringings, but the way that they talk about, what they experienced as a kid, as a teenager, and then as an adult, whether it be abusive
Right,
relationships
man.
or issues with alcohol. Um, I was like, I can relate with this, and to read the book and find out how they process that, and those were pretty helpful to me.
Okay,
Um,
I'm
definitely.
gonna have a look at it.
Um, and then just some closing things to say is, one, thank you for having me on here. Second podcast I've done, so I hope it wasn't too like too tense. But no, I had a good time talking to you, and I'm glad that we connected and we got your gyms affiliated with Adopt a Cop BJJ. And um, the best way that anyone could support us is, comes down to donations. Just cut right to it. It's, share our social media, help us get donations so we can get more officers to their blue belt and get people off the waiting list and get some new ones in. Um, and then without the support, and really the backbone of Adopt a Cop is MASF supplements. So definitely need support on both fronts, and check out Violent Hippie Academy and Violent Hippie CBD. And that's it.
All right, man. Thank you so much. It's by the way, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. Our first episode. I hope we bring it out to you again soon. We're gonna try to bring Aguilar here to
Yeah,
explain a
that'd be
little
great.
bit. Like how things went. How what is the idea and things like that. You kind of explained it today, but I want to explain I wanted to hear it from the person who created, and that will be awesome as well. And Connor, thank you so much for the day. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming. And it's a extremely honor to have you here on the podcast with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Diego.
Yes, so thank you. And so say your social media if somebody want to follow you or something like that before you leave it out, and YouTube channel or whatever you have, you want to blast up here,
Yeah,
you're open for it.
sure. Yeah, I'll just go right down the list. So MASF supplements, it's MASF underscore supplements. That's like backbone of everything. Backbone of Violent Hippie, backbone of Adopt a Cop PJJ. Then Violent Hippie is just violent underscore hippie academy. That's where you'll find us there. Adopt a Cop BJJ, all three of those on Instagram. And then Mitch Aguiar, just Mitch underscore, and then his last name Aguiar. Um, Follow us on those 4 platforms and
What about yours?
grow. Mine's just Connor, CONNER .McLean. It's MCLEAN. And you can see my blue belt level jujitsu.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
All